Welcome to Medical Confessions.
Your remedy for serious medicine. I'm Jen.
I'm April.
And I'm Scott.
Sorry,
like
you were
never,
looking at the...
It's like we've never done this before, April. Man. Are you a little nervous?
You were looking at the screen, so I'm like, oh, are we doing
We're a podcast.
this?
We don't look at the screen.
I know, but you were, so I was like...
Making sure my shirt's visible for a few minutes. I'm wondering if April's a little giddy because the episode, we kind of take turns doing different, I'll call them stunts. And then today is April's turn. And our episode today is breast milk.
Breast milk.
Health benefits, black market of. What else can we add in on breast milk?
All things breast milk related, yeah.
But the key is that April is going to ingest another woman's breast milk.
Yeah, I just keep on telling myself, mind over matter, mind over matter, matter.
I have to say, I'm all about breastfeeding. I was very meticulous about it, with my kids and stuff. But there is just something a little skeevy about drinking.
Big time.
I don't even know that drinking anybody's is okay when you're not an infant. But I don't know. There's just something...
It's very okay, but I actually, when my ex was pregnant...
It's very okay, Scott.
Yeah, very okay.
So I have tasted breast milk.
On purpose?
Well, yeah, because when my kids were born, right, I'm curious, can I give that a try?
Was it a study? Did you do a study on it?
I did. I just wanted to know the flavor, the taste, right? And it was very sweet.
Well,
I remember being sweet.
That's what I told April. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I know that I've also tasted it. I can't remember what situation made that happen, but that was also my assumption. And I told April, I know that I've had my kids vomit my mouth.
Did you drink your own breast milk?
No, I think in a way I did. If I remember right, I think I was holding my son or daughter up, and I think I immediately after feeding. Does that make sense?
They threw up in you?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you just took a bottle of it?
No, I don't think I ever...
So you ate their throw up?
But it tasted like breast milk. That's all it was. Well...
And stomach contents.
And for some reason that grosses me out less than eating. But my recollection is that it is sweet. And maybe I've just been told that, and so that's what I think. But I've heard that.
Well, lactose.
I don't even like drinking regular milk, at all.
Really?
I don't drink.
I
don't drink milk.
Are you lactose intolerant?
No.
Oh, okay, that's good.
No.
Well, and the lactose in there will make it sweet, right?
Yeah.
That's the main sugar carb in there.
So what is the composition of breast milk? Why is it just this gold mine of goodness for people?
In general, every medical group known to man, from the World Health Organization, National Institute of Health, American Academy of Pediatric Physicians, everybody says breast milk is the way to go.
Breast milk is best.
Is best, right? Yes, we can give people formula-fed babies and all of that, but I like the analogy of having two cars, right? You've got a 1987 Tercel and you've got a 2018 Tesla. One's going to get you to the store, but one's a whole lot nicer, right? So they're both going to work, but one's just arguably way better.
Breast milk is the Tesla.
Breast milk is the Tesla compared to that 87, formula. Because it does. It gives you a ton of huge benefits compared to other, just synthetic formulas that you can't get, you can't put in there. So a couple of the things that the mom's breast milk has is a couple of polyunsaturated fatty acids, docosahexaenoic acid and I can't pronounce that one, arachidonic acid. So it has those acids in there, and they're important for neurological development. You're laughing.
I like it when you get tripped up.
I'm looking at this word going...
I can't say half
and
of
normally
those
you don't have to read it, and so that's why it's ha ha.
Well, lately I've been going with the notes method.
Since we're not doing the YouTube?
Because we're, we're going to put this on YouTube,
Sure.
but the notes method is a whole lot easier than, trying to memorize stuff, It's way easier. But either way, it has that. It has that in there. You don't find that actually in any other milks out there. It's just mom's milk. In general, it has all of the fats, carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, and minerals, and water, and everything a baby will need for the first 6 months of life. It also comes with all the antibodies that mom has. There's one antibody, secretory immunoglobulin A, and that contains all of the antibodies mom has for all of the gut bacteria, all of the bacteria she's come into contact in her environment, and that's super huge. You're never going to get that in a formula.
Right.
And that's, the things that are going to make babies sick is that environment. So if they're immune to that, that's going to be helpful. And magically, all of the studies say that kids who are breastfed have a way more reduced chance of getting things like ear infections, UTIs, upper respiratory infections, just a whole host of different, types of infections that you have an immunity to.
Right.
And so you can make the same composition of fats and proteins and carbohydrates in the formula, but you're not going to get all those hormones and all of the, immune system benefits you will from breast milk.
Okay. So there is a lot of controversy with breast milk, and actually it's not so much with breast milk, it's that there's a lot of moms that don't like mom shaming, so the moms that choose not to breastfeed for whatever reason. So you're saying breast milk is best.
Mm-hmm.
Do formulas come close though? Do they do a good job?
Well, sure, yeah, you can. It's the 87 Tricell, right? It's going to get you to the store. It's reliable. Gets 40 miles to the gallon. That's awesome. It's going to, do everything that you need it to do. But those kids are going to be more prone to being sick. They're going to be more prone to getting certain types of diseases like type 2 diabetes and cancers is pretty important. And actually, the moms that breastfeed have reduced chance of different types of cancers as well, which is kind of interesting to me.
That is an interesting one, yeah.
And I'm not really sure why, but they are, like your breast cancers and all of that, you'll have a reduced chance of getting that if you breastfeed. Did you guys breastfeed?
I did.
Yeah,
yeah.
I only did for 2 months.
But not by choice.
Right.
You would have gone longer.
Yeah, I would have.
And the reason I bring it up is because I had problems initially with my daughter. Had a pretty bad medical condition after she was born and was able to breastfeed, luckily, but I remember being devastated, thinking I wasn't going to be able to. It was 5 days after birth before my milk came in, and I remember being distraught, but then I was able to. And so what I always think about is the moms that physically can't for whatever reason, or the moms that struggle, because even like within the year that I fed both of my children, there were times when I would have decreased milk production and it being super stressful, and trying fenugreek and more water and all these things, thinking it was so critical that I produced breast milk. And I wonder about the moms that struggled and have increased anxiety and stress, making it more difficult. Are they, and then the difficulty of breastfeeding, like that, it's not an easy gig, especially working moms.
Well, there are some, it's out there that if you are stressed, all of the hormones involved in stress will actually reduce the chance of being able to make breast milk, because they kind of counteract the prolactin that helps,
I heard that about
milk.
working out as well. If you have strenuous workouts, like it...
Well, yeah, 'cause, what's going to produce the milk is hormones. It's prolactin in there, and then when you first get pregnant, your prolactin levels slowly increase, and you've got little alveoli or in your mammary cells, and those little sacs there start to get engorged with that prolactin, and then the estrogen and the progesterone that's inside your body when you're pregnant kind of counteracts prolactin and doesn't allow you to make milk, but it does allow you to engorge the mammary cells. And then once you give birth, your progesterone and your estrogen levels fall off rapidly, and then the prolactin's allowed to then work and make milk. So if you're working out a ton and your hormone levels are all over the place, it's probably going to affect production, I would imagine.
Did you try the boob vibrator?
No, I didn't.
Found that on my research. It just looks like you can take a toy out of your drawer and use the same thing.
Oh dear.
Is it just like a thing that goes...
No, it's like it looks like a adult toy, but they have marketed it for
breast
stimulation,
right?
Unclogged ducts. But I read one of the reviews. The lady said it doesn't work for that.
I think one of the bigger problems with it is just more the convenience of it. Like, it is it's hours out of your day, legitimately. And depending on your child, if they're really, like my son was, and super distracted and stuff, like it needs to be a quiet place. It needs to, it's extremely hard to do. And we talked about this prior to the episode. The, I don't want to call it hoarding, but like moms that are breastfeeding, like it's a big deal to organize and produce as much as you can and get ahead, because I think we get this whole like mindset, like I don't want to screw this up, and for whatever reason, if I don't have a stockpile of it, I'm a failure as a mom.
Yeah,
well,
you're like you're a prepper.
Yeah, seriously. Like I had, bins and dates and amounts, and I had it all set up. Part of mine was because of my work schedule. My husband had to be at home with the kid for 24 hours. And so he had to have the ability to feed. And then I would pump while I was at work, which was really weird and awkward and stressful. But it's just this whole like stressful thing. So I think for me, more than anything, it was just the stress of keeping the system going.
Well, speaking of stockpiling, it's actually time to...
Well, we have a guest that we're going to call
up.
Who provided us with our breast milk.
Well, and I kind of feel like a little bit of a kinship with her, because this is exactly how I like date ounces. Yep. She's pretty impressive. And the consistency of breast milk, it's got a lot of yellow to it. And if you take it like fresh out of the freezer and let it thaw, it almost gets like I'm telling this to April so that she's like ready. It almost gets a chunkiness to it. And I don't know what that is. I think it's the fat. Right, probably.
That could be. I mean, it will depending
Don't worry,
on what
I've mixed it up for you, April.
Right,
it's okay.
Well, depending on what you eat, it'll change the color and the taste of it. So let's
Hopefully
find out.
She wasn't eating asparagus.
I wonder if that's a thing.
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
Hello.
Hi. So let's just start off. Why did you choose to breastfeed over bottle or over formula feeding?
Well, there's a number of reasons. One was it's free. It doesn't cost anything to breastfeed. Formula is pretty expensive. Secondly, it's kind of like an on-demand thing. Like I could feed her anywhere, not have to worry about having to carry formula everywhere I went. And then thirdly, I also heard that breastfeeding helps kids develop different, like a taste for different foods, because it doesn't taste the same every single time. It depends on what the mother drinks and eats, and so it could taste different. And I'm a huge foodie, and I want her to develop a taste for different foods.
Nice.
And not be super picky, hopefully, when she grows up. And so that was another reason I really wanted to do breast milk.
Well, speaking of the cost, how much we had just talked about here that sometimes moms like to stockpile their breast milk to use later because they feel more, I don't know what you said, Jen.
I just like to be planned and in control. And if something happened to, me health-wise, and then I would have to stop, I wanted to make sure that I could continue as long as possible.
So that begs the question, do you have a stockpile of breast milk?
I do. One of the reasons I started pumping as well as breastfeeding was for my husband to be able to feed my daughter, and so I didn't have to feed her every single time. So pretty early on, about 2 months in, I started pumping and storing breast milk so he could do some of the feedings. And turns out I had a pretty decent supply of breast milk by then. And so by 2.5 months in, I started storing up breast milk in 6-ounce freezer bags.
How much do you have right now? If I went to your freezer right now, how much would be in there?
Currently, I think I have about close to like 180 bags of breast milk with about 6 ounces per bag.
Goodness, so you're talking what, like...
like 1,000 ounces?
That is like 1,000 ounces. Do you know what the price of black market breast milk goes for? It's like $1.50 an ounce.
I am not aware of that.
Do you realize you're sitting on a gold mine right now?
Well, the gold mine for me is being able to stop breastfeeding earlier than the 1-year mark, which is where I wanted to be.
Have you ever heard the story of the golden goose who would lay golden eggs? Because that kind of seems very,
She's not impressed with your...
Imagine the amount of money in your freezer right now. So one of the questions we had was you were kind enough to let us have a bag of your breast milk. What, since you are trying to stockpile, what was your decision-making paradigm on giving us this particular bag?
Well, I found out fairly early on that my daughter is kind of intolerant to cow's milk protein, and I had been eating dairy, and when I ate a lot of dairy, she broke out into severe rashes and eczema patches, as well as started spitting up a lot more and throwing up a little bit. And so, comes to turn out she's cow's milk protein intolerant. So when I ate dairy, she would react to it. So I stopped eating dairy for a while, but I had pumped earlier breast milk when I was eating dairy, and I didn't want to actually feed that to her till she grew out of her intolerance. So that was one of the bags that I gave you, was when I was eating dairy, and I'm not feeding her that right now.
So you gave us a defective breast milk.
It's a double whammy.
So
for
when
me.
April breaks out in a rash.
Thanks.
If she's dairy intolerant.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, and thanks for answering all our questions.
Thanks for having me.
So that's kind of exciting that we've just talked to the woman that is produced the milk that you're going to ingest.
Yeah, it's a double whammy for me. I don't like cow's milk, and I imagine I'm not going to like this milk.
I don't think that you're going to dislike it. Well, so shall we just let her sample it? And then we can talk about the black market and what it's used for.
I think we
there.
should.
All right, let's go. How do you want to ingest this? Because I think there's a few different ways you can do it. April has brought her own props today, and we've got a bowl of Life cereal in a small bowl that she's going to, maybe you're going to break the pallet, get it
I'm going to
warmed
start it.
up
I'm going
first.
to do the cereal first to get myself
And we've only got 4 ounces
Step
here,
by
so
step.
you're going to have to...
I'll do it right.
Why are you smelling it?
I was just curious.
Okay, and
I
so...
feel like I'm about to be entered into one of those weird categories, kind of like Eskimo Brothers, only for breast milk.
I don't even know what that
Eskimo
is.
Brothers
What?
Yeah.
Eskimo Brothers is when, like, let's say, let's just say my husband slept with a girl, and then I in turn slept with that same girl, then we would be Eskimo Brothers. Or if his friend slept with me, and then Jess and I slept together, they are Eskimo Brothers.
Is this offensive to the native
Eskimos?
Alaskan?
I don't know. It's a term they
I didn't
used
even know that was a
on-
thing.
Well,
Me neither.
Did you guys? What's
No.
that fantasy football? The League.
Yeah.
It's on the League.
Oh,
they talk about
okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh God.
it's a good thing you sealed that bag before you just threw it back on the
I
table.
made sure.
So the funny thing is when you just poured this over milk, and I've seen breast milk, it actually looks like powdered milk to me. So, okay,
Yeah.
April's about to
Ready?
take a bite of the Life
Breast
cereal.
milk cereal.
Make sure there's milk in the spoon, that you're not just eating soap.
You look so uncomfortable right now.
Well, it was mind over matter before I started doing the research, and now I'm just grossed out about it.
She's chewing. Does it not taste good?
No, it doesn't.
What does it taste like?
Describe its consistency.
Are you
and
going to be
its
able to
flavor.
drink it straight? Come
Yeah.
on. Scott was in a hypothermic state. I ate a ghost pepper.
Yeah, it's just gross.
What does it taste like?
Does it taste like normal milk?
No, it doesn't taste like normal milk.
Yeah.
Like what? Is
it's
it
almost
sweeter?
sour. No, it's not sweet at all. Maybe the cereal messed it up. Let me try it by
Go
itself.
straight up.
I want you to pour it in your coffee and drink that whole mug.
No, I'm not going to taint that.
Oh, that's
coffee.
a lot. You just poured about 2.5 ounces.
Well,
of
what
that.
else are we going to use it for?
Nothing. I'm
Nothing.
just
I say drink it
impressed.
all.
Do it.
I'm not drinking all of it.
Oh, saving a little for later.
I'd like
I might.
our guest's thought on, or perhaps it's research that shows that children that are introduced to, because perhaps maybe we had curry or something before this milk was produced. So maybe you're getting milk that has a specific taste from foods that
she happened to eat during that
Mhm.
week. Yeah.
Maybe.
And she is a foodie. She likes lots of different types of food. So you got whatever she had eaten.
What kind of food do you not like?
I don't like American Chinese food.
I don't think you have to worry about that one.
Yeah.
It's not one of her things.
No.
So it would be really interesting to do like a taste test and have like a mom for a week eating certain types of food, knowing that, like, let's say it's bananas.
Yeah.
And you do not like bananas, and then have you drink her milk and see if it's gross, and then do another week where it's foods you prefer and see if you like it.
All right, you ready?
I like the idea
really
of a study now.
Now, I will be super impressed because you know how, like, wine psalms, when they are, tasting that, they stick it in and they do that little thing where they, like, roll the liquid around on their tongue a little bit.
Gargle? You want me to gargle the milk?
I wish we had a
Not
wine
like
glass
gargling,
so
but
you
it's
could.
like,
What do they call that when it, like, fingers
Aerates.
in the glass?
like it aerates the wine?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I wish we had. I wish we had a glass where you could see it.
But you know how they just, like, go... Yeah, and they bring in the air and get all the aromas of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Let's try it.
April's taking the milk straight.
I love the expressions on your face. It looks really.
I really think of you
that
as
wasn't good.
I really think of you as like worldly and cool about stuff. I'm kind of interested in how this is not sitting.
I've never
well with
seen
you.
these look on your face before.
Yeah, you
honestly.
actually see.
I really don't like milk. And this is out of some woman's body that I don't know.
What I'm laughing about
level.
is that when we asked if you would offer to be tased, you were like,
no big deal.
no
big
bigs. But this?
Yeah.
Don't want to drink the breast milk.
Oh. Do you want to drink it?
No, heck no. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
We're not talking about me, April.
I don't know if it's better or worse, like if you know the person. Do not puke in the studio, April. Get in the cup. She's almost throwing up. In the cup. Go in the cup. It is mind over matter. Don't puke on us.
I'm not.
You really want to right now. I can see it. All right. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, April full on dry heaved 3 times in our general
eyes
direction.
are watering like crazy. This is fantastic.
Okay, when you
gross.
compose yourself, you're going to have to tell us what was really horrible about that. Was it the taste or just the thought of?
I think it was the taste.
It tastes sour?
And I think it was, I don't know.
You're going to offend our guest.
She's like, what's wrong with my breast milk?
Like I'm solid.
sure her baby loves it.
But they do, they love it.
Yeah, they're all about it.
Speaking of, when I was trying to produce more milk, I took a herbal supplement called fenugreek.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had read over and over again, and I was doubting that it was going to work, and I took as prescribed. Holy moly. It increased my milk production like you wouldn't believe. But the funny side effect to it made me smell like maple syrup.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And when I Googled and did research on it, it said your sweat and, your body will smell like maple syrup. And I kind of didn't believe it. But
It's nature's own perfume. That's fantastic.
But it wasn't a bad smell. And it was really funny because my husband even was like, we'd sleep and you whatever. And he would next morning, he was like, you smell like pancakes. Yeah.
Does he like pancakes?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Wasn't a bad thing.
It's a win-win-win.
Yeah. But yeah, for a full year, I smelled
Baby
like
gets
maple
fed,
syrup.
Dad. Yeah.
And I wonder if it affected the milk too.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Looking for a bucket to throw up in?
No, I was just looking for my water bottle.
Okay, so with as disgusted as April is right now, clearly it would seem that adults probably would not prefer to ingest breast milk.
There's a huge market for it.
That's what I was going to say. What would possess somebody? What are the benefits of adults drinking breast milk?
Nothing.
The benefits of these.
Well, what if it's like a medicine, April? What if, even though it may be not palatable, but maybe it's good for you?
Well, I'm going to stick with April's theory. There's nothing, right? There's never been a study that's proven adults' breast milk is going to be better for you than another type of milk. So just some specifics. A cup of breast milk contains 170 calories. That's about 20 more than whole milk. So it is a little bit higher calorie content.
Which is funny because it's so liquidy looking compared to whole milk. I mean, whole milk is
well,
thick
and there's a lot of fats in there, so that's got a big punch to it. It's got 10 grams of fat, actually, 16 grams of carbs, and 2 grams of protein.
So less than cow's milk.
Yeah.
Less protein.
Doesn't seem like a lot of protein.
No, it's not. Cow's milk has 7 grams in a cup of milk, so it's a lot less in the protein-wise, but it also has some vitamins and minerals. who knows why people do what they do, but there's a lot of bodybuilders who
swear by it.
Who I've seen online who says, I want to drink the breast milk, and so that's where the market is, right? It's like
there's a huge online marketing for adults purchasing breast milk, and it's touting that it will help bodybuilders bulk up, and it's more digestible than cows and other milk. And it contains immune building properties. Some suggest it even can cure cancer, but these online marketing places, the websites are growing by 700 to 800 people a month that are going to purchase this breast milk.
Well, I think if you, it's just how you word it, right? It's marketing is what it is, right? Because they're saying that, hey, it's high in calorie content compared to whole milk. Well, sure. So if you really want to bulk up, I mean, weightlifters that want to bulk up, no, they eat high calorie, so that makes kind of sense. But it doesn't have the protein that normal milk does. So then you start thinking, okay, well, I can eat 20 more calories by, I don't know, what is that, a couple of Mentos? I'm not sure. So then they think, well, there's a lot of vitamins and minerals, and so they say things that it carries a lot of immune system properties, which it does, right? Because it's got that IgA in it. But the problem becomes there was a study done by the Journal of Pediatrics that found, so where are you going to get your breast milk, right? It's if you're a bodybuilder, are you paying your wife to, pump or something after you give birth for the rest of her life? I don't know. But if you buy it online, they did a study on them, 63% tested positive for Staphylococcus.
Ooh.
That's like way over half. 36% for Streptococcus and 3% for Salmonella.
Gross.
So,
that is gross.
Great.
But these are the ones purchased online.
Tell April that before she tested.
Know this particular person.
Yeah.
But so the risks of taking this don't outweigh the benefits of 20 more calories.
So are those present though because of the shipping process and because it's not a clean deal? I mean, so if a mom was stockpiling it, would hers also probably test positive for those things?
Depending on how she stored it, right? Like I know the lady that provided us with the breast milk, she pumps and then immediately puts it right in the freezer, so there's no issues. But the only thing that you can kind of say is that there's vitamins and immune system properties and stuff in there that you're not going to get in normal milk, but there's never been a study that says that those vitamins in that milk are going to help out an adult. So there's just no evidence that it does, and then the risks far outweigh the benefits.
Yeah, and there was a study done out of the Center of Behavioral Health at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus found that 11 out of the 102 breast milk samples they purchased online were actually blended with cow's milk.
Oh, that's dirty.
It's like a drug deal. They're mixing it with baking soda and stuff.
So I understand that part of it, but there is a market for mothers to purchase to help supplement if they aren't producing, or in case of a mom maybe that has to go through chemotherapy and they want to keep another, like every week longer you can breastfeed is like a win. So maybe they're looking at 3 or 4 months. Does it work to
Sure it does. The only thing you're not going to get are all of those antibodies that the mom herself is getting from her environment and her gut bacteria. So like if you purchased it from somebody from Boston and you live in LA, you're going to get different antibodies, and so you're not going to get that protection.
Well, and a lot of hospitals are doing it. Like Tacoma General has a bank that you can donate to, and they put it through a whole screening process.
That's what I was going to ask for. Is it like blood? I mean,
so you've got to test it, and they're not just going to give it all willy-nilly,
Right, but when people buy it online, how do you know?
You don't know unless you're testing it, right?
Ew, creepy.
So we know who gave it to us, so we're good. Don't worry about it, April.
You're fine,
You'll
April.
be fine. I'm really impressed you did the swirling thing.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I think that's actually what caused the dry heave. She was like,
I don't know. There's a specific taste. I don't know what it is. I mean, I've never had it before.
But the funny thing is that you don't like milk to begin with.
Yeah.
You were kind of set up for failure. It's like, feeding me seafood. Like, I'm not going to like it, so why bother, So, so contraindications then would be potential contamination of some sort. Is there anything else?
There are things you shouldn't be, if you're on any street drugs, you probably shouldn't be breastfeeding, if you're on certain chemotherapy drugs, like you had mentioned, you shouldn't be breastfeeding. There's a certain types of, very rare genetic diseases and conditions, you can get like a classic galactosemia. And if you have that, you probably shouldn't drink breast milk. But that's pretty rare. Right now, the American Academy of Pediatrics doesn't recommend smoking and tobacco use with breastfeeding because the concentrations of nicotine in breast milk are about 1.5 to 3 times higher than they would be in the mom's plasma at the exact same time.
So then, therefore, the baby would be nicotine dependent as well?
Well, and so therein lies the question, right? There's never been a study that says that's actually harmful. So they don't recommend it because the concentration of nicotine is higher, but there's never been anything that says it actually is super harmful for the baby yet. But I'm sure it probably is because, I mean, like anybody taking nicotine in, you're going to get those withdrawals, I would imagine.
Right. So probably no different than breastfeeding moms limiting their alcohol, and I know they call it pump and dump. You know, if you decide to go out and you have wine or beer or whatever, you pump and you don't give it to the baby.
Well, and that's what, I mean, you can drink and that's just fine. You just don't want to get drunk and, you know, because that ethanol will be in your breast milk.
Well, and now that marijuana is legal, I wonder how many, like...
Yeah, I didn't find any studies on that one, Interesting. But yeah, so there are some contraindications, but they're really benign, really, in my mind. There's not a lot of, you shouldn't do it. It's in my mind, it's a lot like you. I mean, I don't know. I never went through it, but it seems like it would be logistically a lot harder because you're always having to pump.
Well, and you know, as our guest mentioned, there is the convenience factor of being able to go, going to go run errands or go into the city for the day or whatever, and you always have, you know, food for the baby, and that's great. For me, it was finding a location that was, you know, not distracting, and I'm just very...
What, you're not a public breastfeeder?
I'm like hugging people, you know, we went to dinner with friends one time, and the wife was like really like loud and proud and was super like breastfeeding's the best, and I like that about her. She's super cool, but it was my first kid, and I was like a couple months, you know, still figuring stuff out, and we were in like a Mexican restaurant. She was like, you know, and I'm like, I'm going to go out to the car, you know, and she was like, no way, right here, you know, like totally encouraging, but I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. But I like the idea of having it available and stuff, but it was, for me, and again, my work schedule, it made it really tricky, and my husband would bring my kids to work. So, because if you just pump, you don't produce the same as if you have. Really? Yeah. If I just pumped, like I had to go away for a few days and I just pumped the whole time and my supply decreased drastically, even though I was pumping the same that I was. For some reason, I think the suction's not the same as an infant.
Well, I would imagine it'd be like the oxytocin gets released, and that prolactin helps make the milk inside of the alveoli, but you need oxytocin to actually contract those alveoli to push the milk out. And when you get that skin-to-skin contact, you make oxytocin, so that would make sense.
I liked the calorie burning that took place, because that was a benefit. And I also liked the change in my body. That was a nice temporary...
What do you mean calorie burning?
Like, I felt like I lost weight really quick after I had babies, and I pretty much ate whatever I wanted and was probably the thinnest after, like, during breastfeeding.
Well, and that makes sense because the studies say it takes like 500 to 1,000 calories to make breast milk in a day, so you're just burning more calories.
Well, and if, like, we talked with the guest, if you're overproducing, so I would pump sometimes in between feedings and try to produce more to stockpile, so maybe even more.
Did you dump your extra down the drain? Like, literally?
No, like
dumping money down
no,
the drain?
I froze it. Like it was like I was trying to produce more than the baby needed so that I could stockpile it. So
did you ever consider selling it?
No.
Wasn't on your... Did you know that you could?
I don't think it even no, it's gold. Like I'm like, no, I'm hoarding it. No,
it is gold apparently.
Yeah,
$1 to $1.50 an ounce.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So that part of it liked, and then, you know, your breasts are bigger when you're breastfeeding, which was new to me. And I enjoyed that part of it, too. I was like,
until it became painful.
Oh, yeah. And I had a couple situations. I don't know if you had any.
Just solid as rocks. Oh, horrible.
Really painful. Yeah. I got stuck at work one time and went, like, 16 hours without, and I was in tears. It hurt so bad.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was, like, almost like your, like, full bladder, like... I couldn't even relax, you know, to pump. It was horrible.
So you're sneaking away into the closet.
Well, and it was like at that point it was like no. I was like, hey, I'm out. Like I wasn't even shy about it. I'm like, I'm so miserable right now. CN30.
And I read an article from the UK that said hormone kits that will allow men to breastfeed could be available as soon as 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. Is that a good idea? Is that a good idea, Scott? I mean, should men be allowed to do it? Because I'm all for the dads playing an active role. Like my husband did, used breast milk and fed and was the primary caregiver for full days and stuff. And so that part doesn't bother me, but it seems weird. Is a man's body going to produce appropriately?
We talked about that for this show, that we were going to see if I could lactate, but there's no way I would do that because part of the problem is you can get low T with that, right?
That's his big issue. It's not that he would be producing milk. It's the low testosterone.
And they said that in this article that your breast can swell up to a B cup.
Oh. If you take this hormone
hormone that they're talking about. This article came out in October of this year.
Maybe I should try it.
I want to give it a go. Well, and male lactation, that's male galactorrhea. That's pretty normal. A lot of babies that are born, guys will actually produce a little bit of milk, and guys, the infants, and they call it witch's milk. But men have all the same plumbing. They just don't have the hormones to produce the liquid. And so if they, in my mind, would take a bunch of prolactin supplements and then reduce their amount of progesterone and estrogen going around their bodies, in my mind, you would produce milk because that's how it's happening in the female body, and all the plumbing's the same. I did read a thing that looked at the consistency of male breast milk versus female, and it was pretty much the same.
So are there men in basements taking these hormones and then selling it online?
As a woman's?
Who knows? You don't know what you're getting.
It's the new hipster trend, maybe, right?
Guy down in the basement pumping.
And will they still go through all the processes of milk? You have the colostrum, then you have the what's the one in between the transition milk and then the mature milk. Will they get all three of those?
Yeah, the composition of your milk changes over time based on, the hormones and everything else involved. So I would imagine it's the same. There was a report, or not a report, but something written, when was this? 1871 by Alexander von Humboldt. And he, and I'm not going to pronounce the name of this book because it's 47 French words long. But either way, he allegedly came across someone in the village Arenas in 1871, and he found a guy that was nurtured his son with his own breast milk because his wife was ill, and was able to raise the baby that way. And Charles Darwin mentioned it in his Descent of Man, which is a pretty popular book out there. So it's been around for a long time that it's known you can. Now, whether or not natural selection has just decided those hormones that women have that produce the milk aren't beneficial for men somehow.
There's the animal rights organization, PETA. They ignited a firestorm of criticism when it urged a dairy company to replace cow's milk and use human breast milk in their ice cream production.
Seriously.
Clearly from your taste test, that wouldn't go over well.
Well, maybe it would help cure obesity. Maybe people would be like, ice cream's horrible. I'm out.
This was their way to stop cattle abuse. Way out there on the limb.
I might get on board.
Coconut milk or
almond milk, but I might get on board with Pete on that one because I couldn't imagine being milked for years.
Yeah.
That is probably pretty abusive, those poor cows.
Well, the volumes alone, God was picturing logistics of women lined up in chairs with all these suction cups to their breasts,
and
cows,
pumping is like that, Scott. I don't know if you've ever witnessed, but pumping is just what you described. It is. They make contraptions. They make bras where the cups can sit in the bras.
Vibrators, and apparently.
Well, and you can sit and read and you look like a cow. It is a full on.
I felt pretty cowish.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And
I kind of had fun hooking it up. Look at this.
I don't know that I would describe it as fun, but
your
there
own
was
version
a system.
of tassels.
There is a system, that's for sure. So is this one of the few things that we could say does not necessarily has to be done in moderation?
No,
Wow.
I
Be
think
gluttonous with your
Whoa.
breast milk, and it's okay.
yeah, just start spraying that stuff all over the place.
Champagne party. What did one saggy boob say to the other saggy boob?
I don't know. What?
If we don't get some support here, people are going to think we're nuts.
That's awesome.
I think it's time to close up shop for the day, April. Oh. Well, I guess breast milk is an
It's the
amazing
bee's knees.
substance. Pretty cool. One more thing that just proves how awesome women's bodies are.
Absolutely.
Scott's not going to argue that.
No, not in this room.
Oh, well, good. If you like what you saw or heard today, check us out on YouTube or a podcast.
Or visit our website, medicalconfessions.com.